Hey, red carpet ring, we are supreme. Sorry for the delay. Today we're going to talk about the best NWA champions of all time, top ranked NWA World Champions, ranking from 15 to 1. So thank you all you guys for coming out tonight from Facebook, Rumble, and YouTube. Thank you all for coming out. Like, share, subscribe as you come through the ropes. Got some good content today. We're going to do the top 15 of the top ranked NWA World Champions here. We'll do 15 to 1. Then later on, we'll cross the bridge to toss the ring scandal. We will talk about the situations that happened with the NWA World Championship on separate occasions. But thank you all guys for coming out. Now, you guys know how I do. I will explain what the NWA World Championship is, and then I will explain from each ranking from 15 to 1. And I'll give my final one, whoever that is, explain why I picked that person. Then we will cross over to Toss and Ring Scandal. We will talk about situations over there regarding the NWA World Championship. So, like I said, thank you all guys for coming out. Before we get started, thank you all for coming in. Once again, for Rumble, Facebook, like, share, subscribe to the Red Carpet Ring. Do weekly top 15, top 10, or top rank of any category that I may choose or by request. Also, I'm also on Toss the Ring Scandal. Now, the live stream over there tonight, it will be posted on Rumble later on. As of right now, for Toss the Ring Scandal, it'll just be tonight on Facebook and YouTube. So, with that being said, let's get into the NWA World Championship. Gonna be a good show tonight. Now, first, what is the NWA Championship? Well, let's see what the championship is. The NWA World Heavyweight Championship is a World Heavyweight Professional Wrestling Championship owned and promoted by the National Wrestling Alliance, which is the NWA for short, an American wrestling promotion. So let's get into more specifics regarding this championship. Now, although formally established in 1948, its lineage has been traditionally traced back to the first World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship, which traces its lineage to the title first awarded to George Hackenschmidt in 1905. George Hackenschmidt, not today's stream, but at another stream, I will mention that name again, George Hackenschmidt. Keep that in mind. This effectively makes it the oldest surviving wrestling championship in the world. Along with any other world championship. The title began as the governing body's world championship and has been competed for in multiple major promotions around the world, including Capital Wrestling Corporation, which succeeded from the NWA and became the World Wrestling Federation, or Worldwide Wrestling Federation, now known as the WWE, All Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Total Nonstop Action, which was TNA, now known as Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, Compact Zone Wrestling, and the now defunct AWA, American Wrestling Association, Jim Croc Promotions, later called WCW, ECW, which was Eastern Championship Wrestling at first, then Extreme Championship Wrestling, World Class Championship Wrestling, WCCW, and other defunct wrestling promotions. In October 2017, the NWA ceased its governing body and gradually evolved to a standalone wrestling promotion with the NWA's World Heavyweight Championship as its premier title. So, that is the history of the NWA World Championship. Once again, take a good look at the championship. That's how the belt looks. and we will get into number 15 pick. Now tonight it will be just me solo doing this, but don't worry, it'll still be a great show. I don't have Mr. Goodbread tonight, but it will just be me, and I will break down number 15. Now, the number 15 pick of the top-ranked NWA World Champions is Christian Cage. He had 2 runs as the NWA World Champion, combined days 245. Noble Fuse is Abyss and AJ Styles. Now, Christian Cage, he came from WWE. He's the first star I know that came from WWE to the NWA. And he had a good run with the belt. I know he defeated Jeff Jarrett for one of those runs. He had great matches with AJ Styles, Abyss, other guys in Kurt Angle, and other guys in TNA. Now, later on, he will go back to WWE, I think in 2009, became the ECW World Champion, and later on the World Heavyweight Champion. And he had to retire due to a concussion in 2014. However, he came back recently, maybe around the same time as Edge 2020. He made one appearance in the WWE in the Royal Rumble, reunited with Edge in 20. If it wasn't 2020, I believe, yeah, it was 2020. I know it wasn't 2021. He right now is in AEW. Now, he was the Impact World Champion when he defeated Kenny Omega. He had a great feud with Jungle Boy Jack Perry. And he's pretty much the manager of Luchasaurus, who's the TNT champion. But Christian Cage, he doesn't get enough credit. He was a great champion. He's a great in-ring talent. He gets overlooked a lot due to him not being his size, height. He's not big and tall. He's not muscular like that. He has great in-ring skill. He always got overlooked when he was with Edge and Christian. They always looked at Edge, not him. But he was a great NWA World Champion. I remember when he first went to TNA. He did his thing. He made a difference. So I'm very happy that he made the jump when he did to NWA, which was TNA. At this point, it was NWA World Championship, but he did win, but it was under the TNA. It was TNA under the NWA umbrella. So that's for the record. So I'm happy that, like I said, he came over there, he did his thing, became world champion for NWA. Like I said, he had a very good career. I think it was just derailed by injuries, and maybe overlooked. But nonetheless, Christian Cage was a great NWA World Champion. He had to be highlighted here, but can't take that away from him. With that being said, moving along, I will go to number 14. Now, number 14 pick of the champion for top-ranked NWA World Champion will be Jeff Jarrett. Now, Jeff Jarrett, many you wrestling fans know who he is. He had a lot of history. He came from, let's say, he was with WCW and WWE. He also went back to WCW, but after WCW was bought out by WWE, he did not return due to his relationship with Vince McMahon in WWE. So in 2002, he went to start his own company, TNA, and they used NWA's world title. Now, he had 6 runs as the TNA World Champion or NWA World Champion. It was still NWA, but under TNA, like I said, with Christian. So 6 runs as NWA World Champ, combined days 1,006, 8th most combined days. No refuse with AJ Styles and Christian Cage. Now, Jeff Jarrett, he was never one of my favorite world champions, but he was a great Intercontinental champion, and a great owner for TNA, starting up a company with his dad they start with J Sports. But I know since he ran this promotion, he booked himself to win his championship 6 times. Don't get it twisted. That's why he wanted so much. He booked himself to win. But he did put TNA on the map, and and he had a better career over there than WCW and WWE compared to his other runs. I will give him that. Like I say, he's not one of my favorites, but he will be highlighted. He gave a lot of opportunities to other wrestlers, promoters, whoever in TNA, but he is 6-time NWA World Champ. And I also like this feud with Kurt Angle. They had great feud, I believe, over this belt later on. Kurt Angle came over later on, but he is number 14 ranked, Jeff Jarrett. With that being said, I will head on to number 13. Number 13 pick for top ranked NWA World Champs is AJ Styles. Now, you guys can excuse me. I didn't do my introduction. So start a little bit late, and I will do that right now. Okay, that was the late introduction when I come in. But AJ Styles is number 13 for NWA World Champion. He's a 3-time champion, combined days 196. No feuds with D'Lo Brown, Jeff Jarrett, Petey Williams. Now, I know he also has great matches with Christopher Daniels, but AJ Styles, that's when I first noticed him way before he came to WWE, and even before he was in New Japan Pro Wrestling for a while. But I liked him as a NWA World Champion. He put on great matches. He also put on some great 3-way matches, and he really showed his talent as NWA World Champion. None more can be said about AJ Styles. Any championship he holds is amazing, and this is no different. There's a fun fact with AJ Styles. He is one of the only couple of men to hold the WWE World Championship, NWA World Championship, and also the IWGP World Championship. He's held all 3 of those championships. I think one other person's done it, but I know he's one of the men that have done it. So shout out to AJ Styles. And speaking of AJ Styles, I will have to highlight what his little theme song, because when he gets in the ring, nobody wants to see AJ Styles. He will tear you up. You don't want none of AJ Styles. That man's dope, and he still is at his age now. So with that being said, we will head on to number 12. The number 12 pick of top-ranked NWA World Champions is Pat O'Connor. Pat O'Connor is 1-time NWA World Champion. He had combined days of 903. No feuds with Lou Thesz and Buddy Rogers. Now, Pat Connor, he's from the early days of the NWA. I've heard he had great feuds with Lou Thesz and Buddy Rogers. There was a lot of back and forth with the championship. And, some of the stuff wasn't televised, but he did do his thing as champion for what I've read. He had a good physique. I know he started out as a New Zealand amateur wrestler, and they say he was one of the best workers because he was one of the guys that held also not only the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, but also the AWA World Heavyweight Championship simultaneously. And he was the inaugural AWA World Heavyweight Champion, So he has a little history. He was one of the first amateur wrestlers to start wrestling, but like I said, I looked at him, he had a great physique. He can move in the ring, and he wrestled with the best of his era. So he's definitely one of the premier champions. He had to be highlighted. With that being said, we'll head to number 11, top-ranked NWA World Champions. And ranked at number 11 is Mr. Ricky Steamboat. And Ricky Steamboat, he held the championship for one time only, combined days 76. Noble feud, Ric Flair. Now, Ricky Steamboat, as great of a wrestler he was, and he did hold this championship, and he held other championships like the Intercontinental, United States Championship. He held great championships, but he never had a very lengthy title reign. And for what I've read and what I've been told, that he did not hold a championship long because it was always a situation back at home in Japan with his wife. I know he had to take time off due to the birth of his son, or it was other personal issues, and it kind of derailed him to see his full potential as a professional wrestler. So when I do highlight him, whether it's this championship, the NWA World Championship, Intercontinental Championship, United States Championship, or any other championship he's held in his career, he never really had a lengthy title run, and if he did, he didn't do it that long or do it that much. But Rick Steamboat's still great talent. He's one of those guys that never reached his full potential, and I just want to highlight that. With that being said, we will head on to number 10, and the number 10 top ranked NWA World Champion is Surfer Sting. Now, Sting held the championship 2 reigns, but one of them was unofficial. WWE counts it. I believe NWA also counts it as one. He had combined days of 216 days. Now, his most notable feud that we most know for having a feud with was with Ric Flair, as they had classic matches. These guys also wrestle each other. It is back and forth. Now, like I said, the whole thing with Sting, he actually really had 3 reigns, but one official. Now, it's a whole situation. This is when it was going to WCW, his official reigns. It's when NWA was, with WCW at that point. Now they said that I know when he defeated Rick Rude, his championship win was reversed due to the use of a belt as a weapon, and his reign had become unrecognized by WCW. But for some reason, WWE recognizes it. It's just a big confusion over that. And the second time he did win, they it's just confusing. Like I said, him and Rick Rude had a feud, and Sting won. Then Rick Rude defeated him, and then it was due to the use of a belt by Rick Rude, who did defeat Sting. It was not all recognized, and his championship run and Rick Rude's was null and void at that point. So, but when Sting did get the championship back to him by WCW due to Rick Rude antics of using the belt as a weapon, he chose not to take the title. He left it vacant. So that's why it wasn't counted. Now, when it was vacated, he defeated Big Van Vader, and it really made his third whole championship run as champion. But it was a whole big thing with WCW. WCW, it's the reason why they're not in business, not only because they couldn't keep the money up due to WWE. The way they ran that organization was literally in shambles. There was always some stuff going on with WCW near the later days, and it was always some nonsense. And it could never ever get things right once it started getting all crazy. But with that being said, we're going to head to number 9, top ranked NWA World Champions. And ranked at number 9 is Buddy Rogers. He had 1 reigns champion, combined days 573. Notable feuds with Jolly Valentine, Bruno Sammartino, Edouard Carpentier, if I said that correctly. But before Buddy Rogers won the WWE Championship, being his inaugural champion. He was also a former NWA champion. Now, it was just a whole bunch of stuff going on with it's another story in itself for his championship runs. Yeah, like I said, he feuded with Bruno Sammartino, and I explained a little about this before of the whole how WWE Championship was born. Check that out on Toxic Ring Scandal. But he had one run as champion, and he is the inaugural WWE champion. But it seemed like Buddy Rogers' name was always tied up in some stuff, whether it was this championship or WWE championship. It's always a tie. It was always some nonsense going on with that championship belt, whatever world title he held. That's just to show you that controversy wasn't just in current day or the 80s and 90s, it was also in the 60s as well. Now, I'm going to head to number 8. Number 8 of top-ranked NWA World Champions, we have Orville Brown, who's the inaugural champion. He only held that title once, not only the inaugural champion, but he held it one time. He had combined days of 475. Now, his lengthy reign was they say 475, but some people got listed as 501. You know, it's dispute here and there, the proper title reign length. They said it calculated from the day he defeated Sonny Myers to win the Midwest Wrestling Association's World Heavyweight Champion. And the Midwest Wrestling Association later joined the NWA National Wrestling Alliance. And his NWA World Championship and the NWA World Championship were unified to the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So before he was the NWA Champion, he was the Midwest Wrestling Association World Heavyweight Champion. Now, I have 475 days. Some sources have 501 days. They date back to when he defeated Sonny Myers. But Orville Brown, like I said, the inaugural champion, won at a house show. You gotta remember, during these times, a lot of stuff was not televised. It's just on record. So, hey, go back and see the matches in 1948, especially a championship match that was being unified. So we have Orville Brown at number 8. Now, with that being said, let's move along to number 7. Number 7 for top-ranked NWA World Champion, we have Jack Briscoe from the legendary Briscoe family. He had 2 championship runs, combined days 866. Notable feuds is with Dory Funk Jr. of another famous wrestling family called the Funk family. You also have the legendary Harley Race. Now, Jack Briscoe, he of course is legendary, like I said. He won at a house show, and he defeated Harley Race for this championship. And for his first World Championship, he did. And he defeated Giant Baba for his second run. And he had great matches with, like I said, Harley Race, Terry Funk, Dusty Rhodes, Giant Baba. All those guys had great feuds with each other back in the day. And I believe Jack Briscoe just passed away not too long ago. Gerald Briscoe's his brother. He's one of the stooges that was in the corporation storyline with Vince McMahon. He was the guy that was next to Pat Patterson when they were stooges, running behind Vince McMahon. If you see an older guy looks similar, that's his brother, Gerald Briscoe. So his Gerald Briscoe, number 7. Number 6, we have ranked for top-ranked NWA World Champions. We have another famous family, Terry Funk, one of the most underrated, legendary wrestlers ever in history of professional wrestling, all across the globe. 1 championship run, combined days 424. Notable feuds with Dusty Rhodes, Jack Briscoe, Harley Race, and Rocky Johnson. Yes, Rocky Johnson was the father of The Rock. He feuded with him over the championship. Rocky Johnson never won, but he did have a great feud with Terry Funk. And Terry Funk, he is pretty much the innovator behind the hardcore wrestling style that you saw ECW and that you see in some of these matches in AEW or even WWE Extreme Rules type of matches. He was the hardcore legend, not Mick Foley. He gets the credit. He don't get enough credit. They always give it to Mick Foley. Terry Funk is more of the hardcore guy. He innovated a lot of wrestling from hardcore. Not only was he in NWA territory, he helped jumpstart the New Japan Pro Wrestling back in, I believe, '79. He started ECW with Paul Heyman when it was Eastern Championship Wrestling and later on Extreme Championship Wrestling. He even had a tag team championship run with Mick Foley when they defeated New Age Outlaws in the late '90s. And he also had a hardcore match with Mick Foley, at one point. But he was a great NWA World Champion. I wish he held on to him more after hearing so much about him. When I knew about Terry Funk, I knew him as the ECW guy, but he is also known for many, many other things besides being the ECW. He's one of the hardest workers and one of the guys that put on a great show and a great feud, especially Ric Flair and Harley Race. But he is ranked at number 6, Terry Funk. We're going to go down to the last 5. So, ranked at number 5 for top-ranked NWA World Champions, we have Dusty Rhodes, son of a plumber. I don't think they call him at this point. He was in WWE, or maybe he was. 3 reigns as champion, combined days 107. Notable feud, Harley Race, Dory Funk Jr., and of course, Ric Flair. So, Dusty Rhodes, the man who never won the WWE Championship or the World Heavyweight Championship. But he did win this championship at least. I wish he had won the WWE Championship, but because he was not a WWE original and he came from different territory, Vince McMahon did not felt like he should win a championship due to that. There was a lot of politics going on there. Had the man wearing polka dots, embarrassing this guy, who was a legend. But Dusty Rhodes, he had great matches with Harley Race, Dory Funk, and Ric Flair. Great feuds. He didn't hold to the belt long, very short title runs. But I do know one championship run. I know he had a great match with Ric Flair at a Great American Bash, '86. And if you guys want to, well, that was more of a, NWA World Championship match. I have that on my Rumble. If you want to check the match, I viewed that match. Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair, Great American Bash, 1986, for the NWA World Championship match. And it was in a steel cage. So, like I said, Dusty Rhodes put on some great matches, had great chemistry with Ric Flair, others, and he deserves to be in the top 5 ranking for the NWA World Champions. Let's move along to number 4. Number 4 for top ranked NWA World Champions, we have Dory Funk Jr., another Funk. One championship run as NWA World Champion, combined days 1,563. Notable feuds with Johnny Valentine, Harley Race, Billy Robinson. I heard Dory Funk is the brother of Terry Funk, and their dad was Dory Funk Sr. Now, he also was a great wrestler, but Terry was the most popular and best one. But Dory Funk is no slouch. Great NWA World Champ, did his thing, had great feuds. He held to the belts, you can see, for combined days for years. I think one of his championship runs as champion, I believe he had a great run, and it was one of the best. He had one, I think, his run, was that's only run as champion, but he did defeat Gene Kiniski for the championship, and he had great feuds with all these guys. He never won a championship again, but that championship run itself, 1563, that's, I believe, well over 3 years. I can say that much. So he had a great run as champion, great wrestler. We're going to head on to number 3 of the top ranked NWA World Champions. Number 3 ranked will be Harley Race. And since Harley Race, he's one of my favorites, I just got to get this to him just off GP.
Because I am that damn good.
He is definitely, Harley Race is that damn good. Great United States champion, definitely amazing NWA World Champ. 7 reigns as NWA World Champion, combined days 1,800, third most in history. Noble feuds Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Jack Briscoe, and Andre the Giant. Now, some of these matches he had, and during these times, it was 2 out of 3 falls. He had great feuds. Like I said, him and Ric Flair used to go at it, and him and Dusty Rhodes used to go at it. And Harley Race was known as the tough guy. He was the locker room leader. He was before the Undertaker and before tough guys like Rick Rude. It was him first. He had a great 2 out of 3 falls against Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant, yes, he did wrestle in NWA and New Japan Pro Wrestling before he came to the WWE. But Harley Race, he's one of the best world champions ever, not just NWA, but best world champions of all time. He innovated a lot of the slick stuff in the ring, a lot of the knee moves, a lot of everything. His style he definitely inspired a lot of wrestlers. And if you look at Triple H, a lot of his regimen, his championship style, look, and of course his in-ring style, it came from Harley Race, as I stated before, one of my live streams for top 10 professional wrestlers. If you want to check that out on Red Carpet Ring, Harley Race, there's no other words to be said. This guy is a pure legend, and he will always be a legend. He's one of the best old school wrestlers. He's one of those wrestlers that's in the nick of time. Past, present, future, I think Harley Race would have made it any era. That's how great he was. He would even thrive if he was around today. Despite of how he was a no-nonsense dude, he would have definitely made it. Harley Race is one of the best I've ever seen, to say the least. Now we're going to head on to number 2 of the top-ranked NWA World Champions. Let's see who number 2 is. Lou Thesz. This is another legend. For guys you don't know, if you ever see wrestlers do, Stone Cold has done this move and other wrestlers. If you see him do the Thesz press, it originated from this man right here. He had a move named after him. And he had 3 reigns as NWA World Champion. Combined days 3,749. The most days in history. Noble feuds, Pat Connor, Gene Kiniski, Buddy Rogers, Johnny Valentine. When I hear of the NWA World Championship, I do hear Harley Race, I hear Ric Flair. This is one of the top names I hear, and it's definitely Lou Thesz. What's crazy is the guy I mentioned earlier, Orville Brown, he won the championship from Orville Brown because he had a career in an injury in an automobile accident. Orville Brown had his career didn't last long. So the belt went to Lou Thesz, and he was the official second person to ever hold this championship, which was Lou Thesz. He had earlier won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship before they say he became the undisputed champion when he won the Los Angeles Olympic Auditorium's World Heavyweight Championship. And it was the major world championship besides the NWA World Championship at the time. He defeated a person named Barry Michelet Leon in May 21st, 1952. Now, the sign of this belt would become known as the Lou Thesz belt. He had a long championship run. They made a belt design specialized just for Lou Thesz. That's how dominant he was. That's how great of an athlete he was. And you look, history repeats itself because Roman Reigns, he also has a championship now. His undisputed WWE Universal Championship, the win is gold. That championship is best in Roman Reigns' belt. If you guys look on Friday Night SmackDown, he still carries the other two belts with him. He has Paul Heyman carry him, which is the red belt. I'm sorry, the blue undisputed Universal Championship. And he has the black WWE Championship. They call it the Undisputed Championship, but we know it's two separate titles. The Universal belt, WWE belt. But that belt that Roman Reigns had is specialized for him until he loses that belt. And that's similar with Luther's here. He had a belt named after him. And they made that design for him. The Luther's belt. It was a special design. So Luther's number 2. Now we have the number 1 top ranked NWA World Championship. We're going to get to that right now. Ric Flair. Woo! Number 1. 9 reigns, most reigns ever in the history of the championship. Combined days 3,119, the second most days in history. Noble Feuds, Dusty Rhodes, Harley Race, Terry Funk, Sting, and Roddy Piper. There's no other words to be said about Ric Flair being the NWA World Champion. He did his thing. There's no other words to be said about him. This guy's a legend in his own, one of the biggest legends ever. Ric Flair, there's no other words to say how much of a legend he is. He had a lot of great feuds with this championship. When we talk about Ric Flair, the 16th-time world champion, most of his championships came from the NWA World Championship. The majority came from there. So with that being said, some say he got 8, but it's recognized as 9. WWE recognized 8 of those 9. That's another thing. This championship is a lot of hiccups with the championship reigns following these wrestlers. It could be stuff with backstage. It could be stuff with management. It could be stuff with anything with the NWA. But Ric Flair definitely number 1. And that big gold belt version, as you can see here, that's his belt. He made that belt famous. He made that belt what it is today. That belt eventually became a WCW Universal Championship. And WWE had their own variation of the World Heavyweight Championship from 2002 to 2013. But that belt is pretty much Ric Flair. When I see this gold belt, I think about Ric Flair, just him. But Ric Flair definitely deserves his due. And he killed it. I mean, and with that being said, speaking of Ric Flair, I gotta give him his credit. There's no way. I gotta give him his credit.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man.
Do one more time.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man, and he was that man. He was that man. There's no other way to dispute that.
And that is undisputed.
It's undisputed. Ric Flair, the best NWA World Champion of all time. So those are my top 15 top-ranked NWA World Champions, ranked from 15 to 1. You guys in live chat, comment section, let me know what you think of this. With that being said, I'm going to end this here. We will cross the bridge over to Toxic Ring Scandal to discuss the situations regarding the NWA World Championship. Now, before this ends, you're going to see 2 videos pop up regarding other live streams of my wrestling content, whether it's the top 15, the top 10, top rank of any championship or wrestler or anything. Click that, guys. Check that out. Now we'll head over to Across the Bridge to Toss Ring Scandal. We'll discuss the stream and it's the scenes behind the NWA World Championship and the situations, scandals, controversy, anything that's going to be discussed behind that particular championship. And there was a lot of drama, a lot of nonsense behind it. So you guys check that out at the end of the video. 2 videos will pop up again. Please click those videos. Check out more content here at Red Carpet Ring. With that being said, we're going to head over to Toxic Ring Scandal. And it will be OUT for now.